Hello there. I got this stone at a local indoor thrift store or indoor flea market or whatever. This is a coticule. It's about 1 1/4 inches, just a little bit over that, like 5/16 wide by 6 inches long. It's old and looks like it's hardly ever been used, but as you can tell, it's come loose from the binding. The bond that held it together has come loose. Now these come usually either with a Belgian blue back if they're naturally occurring like this, or if they just mine the yellow layer, which is I think what has happened, because I believe this is not Belgian blue. They bind it to a slate back. Now it's called schist, and it's not good for hunting. It just supports the weaker coticule, yellow coticule side, which is fine. I'm not going to use that anyway. All I'm interested in is this yellow coticule side, but I want this bonded back together. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with this side because it's thicker and stronger and less likely to break. I have some 320 wet dry. And a glass plate, 1/4 inch glass plate. These are the same plates that I use to hone with lapping film on. Stand by again. Alright, I can't find what I'm looking for, so this is a little like Walmart gift card, I think is what it is. I'm gonna, with this plate, and I thought about using 400. I will probably use 400 to lap the yellow side just to see just to make sure that it's flat and clean it up a bit. But what I'm going to do, the wire will hold this on it. Uh-oh. That just might be Belgian blue, ladies and gentlemen. That's a possibility. We'll find out. But we're going to, let me turn this so Mr. Left-hander can work on this. Oh, well, yeah, that's Belgian blue. Look here. You see how that is purple? That's Belgian blue whetstone right there. That's pretty cool for $6. And all I have to do is glue it back together. Lovely. Alright, that's not going as fast as I would want, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try this. It feels to me like what they did, it feels like they scratched grooves or scored the back of this this Belgian blue side of the coticule. Yeah, that's exactly what they've done. Well, I'm going to have to continue to slide. Let me rinse that off. I'm going to continue to flatten. If I can't get this glue off, or if it's down in a bunch of grooves and stuff there, they've scored the back of this, then I'm going to go ahead and just rough it up with a sandpaper and glue it the way that it is. I do not believe, because I'm going to use 5-minute epoxy. I know everybody talks about, oh, it's 5-minute epoxy, you ought to use something better. Dude, you know, this is not critical work here. It's just a stone, and what I'll be doing with it is honing razors on it. Yeah, definitely Belgian blue. Yeah. I don't know if you can see it or not. But yeah, that's what that is. Alright, we're back. You can see that off camera. I went a bit further with the cleanup of the gluing surfaces. I went to my 400 diamond plate. What I would tell you is that that was the best course of action, and I should have done that to start with. The sandpaper that I was using, if you look at the video, what you'll find is that the sandpaper was curling up on that piece of glass. And what I should have done was took some contact cement and sprayed that and glued that down to the glass, because what happens is when that paper curls up, it kind of rounds the ends, and I went back on my diamond plate and flattened as much as possible, but there is still a bit of roundness on each of these ends. That's not going to matter. I've got a huge gluing surface to glue to, and I'm not looking for this to look like it's brand new. I want this to look like what it is, a vintage Coticule. So what I'm going to do, I've got this here, and I'm just going to mix enough up that I think that's probably way more than sufficient right there to bond this surface together. I don't know. Let me see if you can see what I'm doing, because I can't hardly see in the camera for the sun. So yeah, it looks like you can. Anyway, I'm going to bond that together with this, and I think that's probably way more epoxy than I actually need to do this job. I want enough of an epoxy layer that I know that it's going to fill gaps, if there are any. There's not, except for, like I said, on those ends, and there's way enough gluing surface that that's not a problem. But I want to make sure that I get a good amount of squeeze out as well. And what I'm doing, this is a 5-minute epoxy. This happens to be Gorilla. It's the same flipping thing. It's the same thing. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this over. I'm going to do one of these numbers just to make sure that it gets as tight as possible. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing or not, but this is one of the struggles with epoxy, is it likes to slip. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to I hope you can see. Here, let me try to move it for you. I know that you can. I'm going to put a clamp there. I'm going to set that down for a minute. I really don't want a crap load of epoxy on my hands or on this stone. So I'm going to pick this up and turn it around so I can get to the other side. All right. Checking the joint line. And like I said, I'm not looking for this to be perfect. I'm going to do as perfect of a job as I can, because why not? Look, you ought to always try to do the best job that you know how to do. I also don't want to clamp down on this way too much because I don't want to break that coticule, that yellow coticule. Now I'm going to use some naphtha once I kind of clean this off as much as I can and try to get rid of some of this epoxy on the sides. It may be necessary. Hopefully it's not going to glue my clamps to the stone. That would suck if it does. But I'm going to take some of this and try to clean I sure hope that it doesn't bond here. Let me put that like this, and I want to back away from that because I don't want it gluing to the, I don't want it bonding. That's the last thing that I want is my clamp to bond it. I don't know what this epoxy will do, whether or not it will bond that clamp. I don't have the little plastic protectors on it, so and I don't know, like I said, if this is right or wrong, if this will clean this or not. I don't have a flipping clue. Now this is a quote-unquote 5-minute epoxy, but I can tell you from experience that this might cure in 5 minutes, an initial cure, but this is not going to be ready in 5 minutes, so there will be 24 hours from the time I finish this part of the glue up and the time that you see this stone again. And this is the finished product. After cleaning it up, I want to kind of do that number. You see all this blush, this pinkish reddish blush, it goes all the way. I believe this is what's known as a la vignette or la vignette. These black spots, I thought they were like ink or paint or something like that, but they are not. They go all the way through the stone in some spots. They are manganese, I believe it is, deposits. From what I understand, they generally do not cause any issues with honing. And there's the Belgian blue side. Just, it's 1 5/16 wide by 6 inches long. Thanks for watching. Happy hunting. Happy shaving. I'll talk to you later.